Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Good Morning Black People with Morgan Reese. And I'm your amazing and fantastic host, Morgan Reese. And as we see, we got our main man, Dr. Andre Blaylock, back again for another round. About to do it again. After these messages, we're going to go right back, jump right on into it. You already know who he is after these messages. Welcome back again, everyone. This is Good Morning Black People with Morgan Reese, and I'm your amazing host, Morgan Reese. And we have Dr. Andre Blaylock back again, the author, the relationship moderator. That's what he calls himself, but I think he's a relationship guru in my mind. And I know, you said all shucks. And we're back for another round. You never know what we're going to talk about when we get together. So we're just going to jump right into it. All right, Dre, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, listen, I need to ask you a question.
I'm ready.
How do you
look? You and I were kind of talking.
All
right.
How do you define emotional maturity?
Well, emotional maturity is the balance between your intellect and reality, external reality. And emotional maturity has the ability to look at an event and process that event or craft a response without either being influenced by your positive or negative emotions. Okay, so that's what emotional maturity is. And I'll put chidos. You've heard me say chidos before because a lot of us are children, right, in adult bodies.
Never heard of that title.
Yeah, well, I kind of made it up and stuff. So, child like children in adult bodies, and it all depends on what type of maturity that we are discussing, right? So you have personality maturity, you have physical maturity, you have social maturity. Now, social maturity and emotional maturity, those are the two things I want to touch on tonight. Social maturity has everything to do with how you were raised by your parents, right? And once you get to a certain age, you question everything that you were taught and you process it via an individual lens because we are not our parents. But unfortunately, our parents raised us and we see the world through their eyesight. And most of us never question that anymore. So that has to do with social maturity. So a lot of people are socially immature and a lot of us are emotionally immature. And tonight I just want to talk about like maybe 6 or 7 traits that you can identify in yourself or others. And maybe as I list them in, you can just kind of talk about them individually and see where we go. What do you think?
I think we can do that because I know us as adults, some people when they get a certain age, they say, I'm a grown man, I'm a grown woman. I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. I done been on this earth before. And I remember talking to an older uncle of mine, and he said, sweetie, sometimes most men don't even mature to their 60s. Most women don't mature to their 60s. So by you bringing this conversation up, it really has me thinking. So I'm ready to dive in. Let's do it.
I'm ready too, because a lot of times, I was just asked today before this episode aired, what are some of the main reasons that relationships don't work? And a lot of people say, I'm smart, I'm real smart. And I'm like, well, your IQ is smart, but your EQ is very low. Your EQ determines how effective you're going to be in life. Your EQ has everything to do with how you treat people, how you respond to people, how you react. So it's very important we look at our emotional intelligence because a lot of us just don't have it. So I made like 6 or 7. There's many more, but I'm like, okay, what are the 7 things that I could talk about with Morgan to kind of encapsulate everything? So number 1, and this has to do with immaturity, emotional immaturity. right?
Okay.
Lack of empathy. Okay, so a lot of people don't have the ability to understand how another person is feeling. They just look at how I'm feeling. You made me feel this way, and you process everything from that lens and that perspective. But an emotionally intelligent person would be like, okay, I know I said this. Morgan could be feeling that way. How can I tailor this response based upon this is how I feel, or this is how you made me feel? What do you think about that?
Hmm. Well, you actually brought that up. That's a good thought because I had a friend of mine and we were talking about. So she says I'm very emotional. Actually, not just her. A lot of other people say I'm a very emotional person. I'm working on getting better. I promise you, I am. And she said that she was in a relationship with someone, and they were really needing her sympathy, her empathy, and she was just there, but she didn't know how to provide that. And I said, how do you not know how to provide that? And that's supposed to be your partner, because I look at it in relationships. Um, some relationships depends on the partner. They're selfish. They're only thinking about them and them
Right,
only. So if
right,
a person comes, whether they had a loss in their family or someone got hurt or whatever like that, that partner may not know how to empathize with them and give them that empathy and sympathize with them. Because there's a
right,
difference between sympathy and empathy. You can
right,
sympathize with someone and you can really be like emotional. And, like I say, when people tell me certain things and I say, well, I keep you in my prayers. I do that a lot. But then you can be empathetic to that person's situation, but not get yourself so emotionally wrapped up in it and
right,
still be able to still be there, in my opinion, for
right.
that person and
Exactly.
not look like you're being a butthead, you know,
Right,
and you're
right,
like, dang, I really need you right now, and you just kind of pushing me off right now.
right.
And so with her, I was just like, well, girl, he really like needed you at that moment. And she was like, well, I already told him that that's just not the person I am. I
Right,
said, you can't be in a relationship with someone and not have a little bit of that, because
right,
that means that relationship is basically a relationship based on rocks, in my
right,
opinion.
right. And that goes back to, like I was saying earlier, that's personality maturity or immaturity, actually,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of people say, this is just how I am. I've always been this way. Well, you can change that. You don't have to be that way. You can stay, your personality can still stay childish. You can evolve it. Um, the second one is overreacting to life circumstances, and they have a tendency to go towards chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened, they get amped up.
The
They go
whole world
straight
coming to
to
an end.
10. And it's just kind of like, wait a minute, that's a sign of emotional immaturity. Something happens, you don't get your way and you amp up. You can't understand why something would happen to you. Like, why me? Why me? This bad stuff happens to me. Well, you don't say that when good stuff happened to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
We only say why me whenever we have drama or conflict in our
Mm-hmm.
life. Why me? But this happening, blessings, blessings.
Ah,
But you can have blessings and not expect chaos. They come
and not
together.
learn the lessons and not learn the lessons.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's a big sign. If you find yourself overreacting and amping up, that's a sign that you are emotionally immature. The
Mm-hmm.
third one, failure to take responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault. And I find this in relationships. Whenever a person breaks up, you can really spot emotional maturity by a person saying, you know what, in my last relationship, I did A, B, C, D. I could have improved by doing whatever. An emotionally immature person is going to find blame with the other person.
Yes, your fault, your fault, your fault. And not
Yep.
realizing, as the old saying goes, when you got that one pointer finger pointing at you, the other three fingers are pointing back at yourself. So if you're
Yep.
pointing those fingers at them, those other three pointing fingers are like, okay, four
Right.
fingers, if you want to be honest about it, are
Right.
pointing back at you,
Right.
because we are mirrors. We got to look at
Mhm.
ourselves before we point at other people. Because a person does not, in my opinion, does not just react and say, okay, well, I just want this relationship to come to an end. And there's no reason, there's no rhyme behind it. It had to be
Right.
something that other person did to push them to that way. whether
Right.
it's cheating, whether it's not. Some people are serial cheaters and some people are not. But then there's some people who have in their mind and their thought they have a justified reason for doing it. They may have given that information to you and say, "Hey, I told you who I was. You knew who I was when you met me, and I told you that I was unhappy with this, or I told you I was unhappy with that."
Right.
Not saying that was the right way to go,
Right.
but we're human beings at the end of the day.
Right. And another sign of emotional immaturity is life. Life is neutral. Okay. Um, you have different people that can respond to the same stimuli different ways. So I counsel some people who find themselves in the same relationship with different people. And they're like, why do I keep finding these terrible people? There are no good men out here. I'm like, baby, you're attracting you, right? Life is giving you that test over and over and over again. It's the different sheet of paper is the different man in front of you or the different woman in front of you. But the result is an F, meaning the relationship ends. Because until you change who you are, you're not going to be able to change how you pick a partner. And you're going to keep picking the same one over and over again. And it gets harder and harder the older we get. I'm serious. If you're listening to us and you're over 37 years old, you're not young anymore. You're
You're
not.
not going to you're not going to that 40 door.
No, and if you're 40, you're middle aged if you live to 80, right? So at one point, we got to stop tripping and saying, I'm young, I still got it going on. It's like, look, that young mentality, I still got it going on at 40 and 50 years of age, is contributing to the immaturity and how you're picking your partners.
And you know what? To piggyback off of that, when I got a divorce for my first marriage, and the judge actually ordered for us to go to counseling. And so I wanted this marriage to be over quickly. So I was like, I'm going to do my homework, even though I knew he wasn't. And I went to the counselor and we was talking about different things that took place, not in just that relationship and previous relationships that I was in. And he said the same thing, similar to what you said. He said, until you learn how to do better with you when you're choosing your relationships or you were choosing your mates, you can end up doing the same thing. You're just going to do it with a different person. And I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to do this again with another person. And he said, well, then you're going to have to learn what you need to do, what you need to improve on, or how you can be better. So when you get in that new relationship, you won't do the same thing and then have the same result, just with a different person.
Right. And the funny thing is, even if life brought you a great person, if you don't have if you don't have empathy, right? If you overreact, if you have a failure to take responsibility, no matter how perfect that person is, those three things will end up running that person away.
And there's no such thing as a perfect person, believe it or not.
There's no such thing as a perfect person, right? Right. There's no such thing. I guess the art of being perfect is realizing every day, moment by moment, there's an opportunity to change, right? So then you're in the pursuit of perfection. So can I be perfect in a moment? I can be perfect once I realize that this is a problematic area and I change it. I'm working towards perfection. But if I'm stuck in my ways, like a lot of times I ask some of the ladies that I talk to, and this is so frustrating. I'm like, tell me three things about you that will make being in a relationship with you difficult. They can't think of anything. I'm like, give me three things about you that will make being in love with you or in relationship with you hard. I'm a great partner. I'm like,
well, you can't be if you're single.
Can't be. And
you can't be if you're still looking for somebody.
And you're perpetually.
You gotta go back and look at that homework book. Gotta be like, let me go back.
Look, it's cute. Right. It's cute in our teens.
Somebody new.
Exactly. It's cute when we're in our teens and our early 20s being single. Why are you still single? That's cute. It ain't cute after 37, 38, 39, 40, 50. Why are you still single? That is not cute anymore. It's like there's some underlying issues and problems that are not resolved. Either you keep picking people who are abusing you, or you're abusive because of self-entitlement behavior. I deserve this. If I'm not getting that, then I know my worth and my value. That could be keeping you single, and it's not cute. The older we get,
Not
it's just
anymore. Not anymore. I believe it's such thing as self-sufficiency.
yeah,
When you're in a relationship, you it's, as we said the last episode we was on, we women are supposed to be a man help me, not us help the man meet our needs.
right,
Because if you want a man to help meet your needs, you can meet your own needs, and you really don't need that man. I remember my younger years, I used to always say, well, a man was only good for their physique. You know, it was only good for their body, the body parts, and everything else I could take care of myself. And I remember someone said, well, if you need it for that, then you really don't need no man. You can kind of do that your own. And I was like, no, I need that. So as I got older, I was like, okay, maybe that's not a good saying to say. I needed to correct myself so I won't come off looking like, well, dang, you don't really want me. You don't love me. You just want my body part, or you want what I can give you in that moment. If you can take care of yourself, then what do you want me for? So when you're in a relationship, it's a two force. This is a two part deal. You know, you do your part and I do my part, and then both our parts come together as one.
right,
And most women now, and even some men, I'm meeting some men and saying, you know, I met a man said they want a sugar mama. I was like, that don't even sound right coming out of a man's mouth. To me, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't even sound right when a woman says, you need to find you a sugar daddy girl. And I'm like, no, that's not a good term. I don't like that. And basically, you find that person is just for the finances. Because you can't just get somebody and not be emotional with them and not be physical with them. You can't have one without the other.
right. Well, typically 18 to 24, that's sugar baby status. Over that, no, you're just in a pay to play relationship, but you're not a sugar baby. You're just working things out. And even with those relationships, when you're dealing with a man or woman who's fiscally powerful, they pretty much placed on their budget or in their budget entertainment. So you're just entertainment to them. So it's like, okay, well, I got, let's just say $5,000 this month. I'm going to blow on booty or whatever. And it is what it is. It's kind of like you're not getting over. Each person is being used. Like, okay, so you're not using her or him for his money or her money because they already have budgeted that. Where you come into problems is when you're expecting something else, like you're expecting a different type of emotional treatment. You know, I
You
want
can't
the
get there
cuddling,
when you're basically being paid for.
yeah, basically pay to play.
I mean, let's just keep it real.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, seeking immediate gratification. That's a sign of emotional immaturity. That shows up in I'm on the dating site. I expect a man or a woman to pay immediately to be in my presence. Okay, that's immediate gratification. It's kind of like, okay, my pushback to that is whoever asked the person out should be willing to pay. Okay. But if you're being asked out, if I ask you out and you say yes, you can't then dictate where I take you. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like, so I had somebody to say, well, I eat at Ruth's Chris or I eat at Morgan's all the time. I'm like, okay, well, if I don't want to take you there, if I want to take you to Red Lobster, I don't eat Red Lobster. Well, then you pay for go to Morgan's.
We won't be eating.
Right. Well, I don't think you should go on a dinner date anyway for the first date. I mean, I don't think that's the best idea, but a sense of entitlement or seeking immediate gratification, we know what that means, right?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. The tendency not to see beyond our own desires. That's a sign of emotional immaturity. I know what I want. I know what I need. I know what I deserve. And if you can't give me that, I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. It's like, is it really settling? It's like going back up to that seeking immediate gratification. Like, okay, there has to be a value proposition. When I first meet you, within the first month, the first 4 weeks, you don't have that level of value in my life that I'm going to go overboard for you. I
Especially
mean,
you're just getting to know the person, to learn the person. It
the
just doesn't
value
have,
prop, right?
whether it's love or lust at first sight, whichever one you want to call it, you still getting to know that person, whether it's in love or it's in lust. So
Exactly.
there's no such thing as, oh, you're gonna give me what I want no matter what, because I'm me.
Right.
So then you could
Right.
be you, and I'm gonna be me, but you're not gonna get what you want until I get to know who you are. Like you should know who I am, because you
Yeah.
never get in a relationship sometimes, and sometimes some people have ulterior motives when they get in a relationship.
Right.
So for that person to want or say, well, that's what I'm entitled to. Again, we're going back to the entitlement. That's where our young people get this entitlement thing from. Because sometimes
Right.
they watch their older parents or they watch their aunts or their uncles still trying to be young and down with them. And you're like, baby girl, you got to do this, you got to do that. Or young man, look, come here, little fella, let me tell you this. This how you get a woman. That's what you do for a woman. They're not teaching them. Again, we got to go back to those traditional values, though. See, they got to go
Yeah.
back a little bit.
Yeah. Again, social maturity. Because
Wow.
your uncle, your mama, your daddy, they tell you all that stuff. But if you perpetuate that stuff in your adulthood and you never questioned it, maybe it worked for them, but it might not work for you.
Different
Especially
generation, different time.
yeah, especially now, because we're in a generation where women out earn men. We're in a generation now where women are more educated than men.
Mhm.
Grandpa didn't have to deal with that. Meanwhile, grandpa told you what you should and should not be doing, what he had to do to get grandma. Well, grandma won't making 80, 90, 100, $200,000 a year.
Grandma probably wasn't even working then.
Probably wasn't.
Think about it.
She probably
You
wasn't.
want-
And even back in that generation, they would snatch you out of school so you can work on the farm.
Right, right. So you either use working on the farm or you was working in someone else's house, but you didn't physically have a real 9 to 5.
Right.
Where when there's comparing apples to oranges, that back then, yes, the man was making more, even though he still was making less. He still was able to still be considered as the head of the household in all forms and facets.
Right.
Um,
And
even
legally
today's
speaking, I
time,
mean, and legally speaking, grandma didn't have the same legal remedies that modern women have. So back in grandma's days, um, it was all about staying together. They suffered together, they stayed together. It wasn't all this romantic love and they just love each other and they're on top of the clouds all the time. No, they struggled. But back then it's like, don't you let that hussy tear up your home. You
right,
better stay there. Now grandpa might have had another family on the other side of town and it was known.
right. But
But
nobody molested
grandpa, if he
anything
paid
else.
the bills, he paid the cost to be the boss, right? But when women decided, or when women start making more money, there's like, I don't have to put up with that anymore. I know what I need. I know what it's like, okay, it's just different. Okay, it's just
Definitely
different.
different. Just this generation is totally different from back then.
Yeah,
When us ladies back then, we were some of us was raised up on the grandma and the aunts and the older people generation of their thing. But then as decades change, as generations change, like we're in 2023, and it's like we're going back in the full circle again. We're going backwards. Matter of fact, I was getting my nails done today, and we was watching some videos, and I was like, they don't play videos like they used to no more. And my nail tech was like, oh, you mean the booty popper thing? And I was like, no, I mean that was then too, but I didn't watch that then. And she said, well, that's all they're showing now. So it's basically come back in a full circle. That's the new thing. Women are kind of hurting their bodies or contouring their bodies to be this bodacious thing. You got to have the big booty, you got to have the big lips, you got to have the big boobs, and that's how I'm gonna get that man, and I'm gonna keep that man. And while you over there talking whatever, you don't look like this. You don't got $200, $300 weave in your hair, and your hair ain't down to your back, and all that. I'm gonna be taking your man while you sitting there looking like boo boo the food. But it's
right.
like that doesn't last long either, because
Yeah,
those things you went and got worked on, they ain't gonna last long. It's gonna deflate somewhere.
right. It used to be femininity was about a way a woman carried herself. It's the way she responded to life, to her man, to her community, to her children. Today, femininity is about what you look like, right? It's
Mhm.
an attitude. You can listen back in the day, wet my whistle. You make my
Yeah,
love come down. You
yeah.
just listen to some of the ladies, the old school artists, the Jill Scotts, the Erica Badu's, how they talked about love and stuff. And then you got the ones today like lick my crack, stick my tongue in the booty hole. Like, I mean, it's like it's just devolved. It's like, okay, there's no class.
None
There's no
whatsoever. And they're having their own kids. So they're teaching their own kids as they're growing up that this is going to be a normal thing when their kids get 18, 19, 20 years old. But unfortunately, as I always told my kids and my grandkids, old school
right,
never dies.
right,
Old school never dies. We can still listen to a Marvin Gaye album. We can still listen to a Teddy P album. We can still listen to the Delphonics, the Dells, and get a message of Luther, and still get that message. And it doesn't, even if they may have the same idea or thought, it was clean with it. It wasn't so direct and so vulgar.
right.
The music that's going on today, it's for this generation, but it's just so vulgar. It's just like, oh, it's so direct. And it's like, there's no finesse.
Yeah, and it fosters, and that's again staying back on top of that fosters is a type of emotional immaturity too.
Maturity.
Number 6, hostility. Quick to anger, quick to attack people, quick to disagree, an unwillingness to separate the person from your emotions or their thoughts and feelings. Like you can disagree with me, and I can like, you know what? I'm not really liking the way you process that or how you feel about it. That don't mean I dislike you.
Right.
But these days, it's like if I disagree with you, I don't want nothing to do with you.
And everybody angry at the world. You sleep on your side of the bed, I sleep on my side, or you
Yep.
you get out the bed and I stay in the bed and I still be mad. No, no.
Morgan, let me ask you this: how do you think, or how do you feel about dating several people at one time, getting to know different people, several people at one time during the dating process? How do you feel about that?
I've actually done that before at one time. Um, this generation is a little fearful to do it, because you're seeing a lot of people, their minds is not right. You got to literally do a full test, a psychological test, a physical test, a mental test, all that. But when you're in a dating scene and you date more than one person, to me, that's options, that's choices.
Mhm.
Because if I'm dating this one person and I'm still bringing that same information to the second person, I'm bringing to the first person, and that first person is like, well, I'm gonna convince you to stick with me, and you leave that other person alone. Or in your mind, you're thinking, okay, well, I may hold on to them, but I also may hold on to that other person because it's kind of like a competition sometimes. Not meaning it for it to be like that, but it's like who's gonna win the prize, and the prize is me. So when you're dating two people, you really can't give both of them your everything. You really just cannot give them your everything. Someone is going to be lacking somewhere. So you may give guy A or girl A everything, and girl B or guy B partial of everything. And as you're evolving in those relationships, eventually you're gonna have to start narrowing it down to one.
Okay.
Or if you decide to hold on to two, then you must not be ready to settle down. You're not ready to go to the next level to say, okay, I want to just be with just one person.
Okay.
I've done that before myself personally, where I've had multiple people, not just two at a time.
Okay.
And eventually someone either kicked their own selves out, or I said, oh, you know what? I don't think this is going to work any longer. I'm going to move on. Not telling them who I'm moving on to. So look like these days, a lot of people are dating more than just one person, or they're being with just more than one person. And it doesn't make it right or wrong when you're dating. Especially if you're looking for a certain thing in a person, in a relationship, you got to be looking for something, because you can't just be dating more than one person and saying you're not looking for something. You're looking for something between one of those people.
Okay. Do you think that's a sign of emotional maturity or immaturity?
If I was immaturity, because it's like you want your cake and you eat it too, kind of, sort of, and like, well, maybe feel like I'm on top of the world because I have more than one person that's fighting for my attention or fighting for my time. But at that time, you're not thinking about that. You're just looking at it as you have more than one person.
Okay. I think I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I think it's a sign of emotional maturity. Reason being is that if you look at dating as an opportunity to meet new and interesting people in order to gain a different perspective or learn something different, that means you don't go into the relationship with any expectations. The only expectations I would have is that you're going to act exactly how you are, right? And I'm going to observe that, right? I'm not going to be like, okay, you should treat me this way, that way, because again, that's not me dealing in reality. That's me dealing with what I think should or should not happen. And that, again, like I said, is a form of emotional immaturity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emotional maturity is I can craft a response based upon reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without being either negatively or positively impacted by my emotions. So when Andrea is getting to know Reese, I'm just going to show up jovial. I'm going to show up, natural, like, okay, this is what I like to do. I'm not going to try to impress you. It's not whether you like me or dislike me. I hope you like me, but I'm not going to do things or perform for you to like me, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm just going to act, and I want you to observe me in my natural habitat. Like you're at the zoo, and I'm looking at you. So I'm probably looking at several different people, just getting to know them. There's no sex involved. We ain't trying to do boost status, because I'm just sitting up there saying, how do you handle rejection? Okay, I'm going to ask you out, but I want to take you to Red Lobster. But you get all puffy because I should take you in your mind to Ruth's Chris. I'm watching that. That's a sense of entitlement, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
sign of emotional immaturity.
Right.
You have to have your way, right? I'm looking at all those things. And then through the process of elimination, you arrive at the person that you have the best dialogue and communication with, and you're more alike than different. Opposites attract. That's true.
Right.
But then they attack once you go through that after that honeymoon phase. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you do that? Why don't you do that? In other words, why are you not more like me? Well, when I'm dating you, I get to see all of that. But if
So
you
then
can't
that
get,
goes back to changing. Now you're trying to change a person.
that's what they say, you're trying to change, but it's like, no, whatever you see. Now, I'm not saying what you see is what you get, because once the value proposition is there, a person can change. They
Mm-hmm.
can change. Once the value is there and they see the value and recognize the value, what they used to do, they might not do anymore because you helped them see a different way. You didn't beat it out of them, you didn't criticize them, but they observed you and the effectiveness of your life. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know what? She always has money. I know she always has money because she ain't blowing it all the time. I need to do that. I would like more of that in my life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But you get with somebody who don't inspire you, or that it's like, no, man. Once the value proposition is there,
Mm-hmm.
it works. Now, ladies, if y'all are listening, this is aimed at you all because y'all fall victim to this. It doesn't matter what a man does or does not do until you start liking them. When you
Mm-hmm.
start liking that joker, and once you fall for him, some of the stuff that you said you would never do, you do
That's
it. And
true.
men know it. Men know it. And one of the quickest ways, going back to this old school mentality, is Andre meets Morgan. Morgan is over 37, 38. So this line is going to work on Morgan over 80% of the time. Yo, Morgan, we've been kicking it for a little while. I kind of enjoy our conversation. I kind of enjoy the way you do stuff. How about we just kind of let everybody else go and concentrate on each other and see where this thing goes? Because I'm tired of playing these games. I'm ready to find somebody I can settle down with and build with. And I think that we got that chemistry. What do you think? If you say yes to that, especially you ain't never seen me mad, you ain't seen me upset.
You ain't see the other side
You
because
ain't
we
seen
all got
that.
other sides.
I look good, I smell good, and I'm blowing your back out. And you fall for that, you set yourself up for failure because you end up staying longer than you need to because that emotional immaturity got you caught up in this circle.
And you're
Whereas,
hoping that, well, now I done got him and he done kicked the bobo to me. Maybe I can change him. Again, going back to the word change. Like I stayed with my ex-husband as long as I probably did, because he kept saying if it wasn't for me, he would be like it. If it wasn't for me. And I kept saying, well, I see more of him. I think I could change him. And it took a long time to realize you can't change nobody unless they want to change on their own. You can always give guidance, you can give advice, you can do what, but as long as you change, stay who you are, and you never change, it's not your job to change the other person, especially if they want to be with you.
Right. And it's like
Wise to see the other side of them, though. It's wise to see the other side for you to jump in, feet and hands first, and like, yeah, he said all that. I want to be with him. Oh yeah.
Right.
And
right.
then you get together and you see a different side.
Yep. And you can kind of tell like our parents ruin us sometimes, or they make it more difficult because they don't establish a pattern or routine. Okay. It's very important for your kids to go to bed at a certain time each night.
Right.
It's very important for your kids to once they play, put stuff away. You're putting routine and discipline in their lives.
And structure.
But it's not all about emotion, and it's not all about you do it because I said so. It's about structure. And these days, if you look at it, Morgan, people don't stay together because they don't decide to. It's a decision. It's not based upon your feelings. That has something to do with it. But if you mess around using the process of elimination and you arrive at the partner that you get along with the best, and then at the beginning of your relationship, you write down the things that you like about that person and the things that you admire about that person. Sometimes you have to pull that list out when your emotions go sideways, and you have to speak the truth. This person is a person of integrity. This person is a person, he's generous. This person is long suffering. You have to be able to look at that because that's true. Your emotions will take you sideways because they didn't do what you thought they should do. So therefore, they're not a real man or real woman. It's like, I don't know what the hell that means anyway.
Because we all still real people. I believe when they use those comments or they use that context is, you're not a real man, you're not a real woman, is because now you're starting to see the real person. You're starting to see the real them. See, before you were just seeing that facade or that mask that you wanted them to be. You wanted them to be like this, and you wanted them to be like that. And then when they start actually showing you their real and true selves, it's like, wait, hold up. I ain't signing up for this. I didn't want this.
And the real man and real woman is so subjective.
It is.
It's so subjective. It's like, okay, a real woman shouldn't be able to lay floors and change her tire. To some people, a real woman shouldn't be able to do that. A real woman should be able to get her nails done and her hair done. That's all.
Right. But don't do any manual labor. Don't think she should do. Some women don't even cook nowadays. You get in relationships and they'll tell you, I don't know how to cook. You're like, you don't know how to cook. Yeah. Like, I learned that old school. The best way to the man's heart besides one way is you got to feed him. Because, you're going to go out, he going to get fed somewhere else, and somebody else will be cooking his food, and you can be wondering why he happy every day. But it ain't just because of you, it's because somebody else is feeding him. Somebody's feeding his stomach.
And if it's the type of man that they say they want, like tall, dark, and handsome with a lot of money, he's going to go out to eat. He don't need you to cook.
That's it.
Like the traditional idea of a woman, a real woman, cooking, cleaning, and whatever else we say she should do. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know if that matters, because if I have enough money, I can hire a cleaning service. I can go out to eat.
Or hire a chef.
Yes, I can hire a prostitute for sex. It's like some things might be valuable. Like, okay, if I'm an idea person, can I bounce ideas off of you? Can you help me figure some stuff out? You cooking and cleaning, I don't care about that. I can do that myself. I'm a grown up. Unless I'm going to live in a pigsty, I can keep my own house clean.
Right.
I can cook. I mean, I'm still alive at this age. I didn't starve.
Right.
So some of these things are not as important. We hold on to certain things. And I'm not saying, that's what I'm saying. It's so subjective what a real man or real woman should or should not do. And you got to ask yourself, where did I get these ideas and concepts from? A lot of times it's how you were raised and what you were taught. And what you were raised and what you taught has nothing to do with who I am.
Yeah.
Are you going to get to
we're
know
not our family members anymore. We are our own individual person with our own thought process and our own way
right,
of doing things.
right. Are you willing to get to know me? Because if you realize, like, okay, well, Dre, he doesn't fly off the handle. Dre listens. He's respectful. Once the value proposition is there, you can motivate, encourage, or inspire me to change. But you're just not going to do it like if it's not up there immediately. Again, going back to this, that seeking immediate gratification. If it's not there immediately, you're going to dismiss me. Well, chick, I don't know you. I treat my wallet like you treat your vagina. You don't give it up to just anybody. I mean, well, I expect to be, well, you dealing with simps. You dealing with men who are coochie motivated and they're trying to impress you. And you know which ones that, tell me if I'm wrong. You might not be this trifling, but you know somebody that is. Women have men in their lineup that they use to supplement their entertainment budgets and their eating budgets. And you got them jokers in your friend zone. You know who to call to do what for you.
Yeah, I got some friends that's like that, and I said,
And you know they want more.
right, but they only use them for those particular things.
Yes, that's what I'm
So
saying.
to
It's
me,
just kind of like, okay,
that's
so
a user. That's a selfish user.
it is, but I don't feel sorry for the guys like that either. I'm like, there's no value proposition. Quit. Okay, we were taught that the woman is the prize. You said it before. You're the prize. Well, my pushback is, unless you're willing to meet Andre, wine and dine Andre, and get down on your knee and propose marriage, Andre, you ain't choosing Jack. You're the prize. No, the man makes you the prize. You're not the prize just because you're a woman. It's like you have to be the prize and valuable to me. Because you're not willing to do all those things to get me and put a ring on me. You ain't willing to try to buy me a house and all this stuff. So no, you got to be worthy for me doing that to you. But a lot of men, we're taught that I got to perform for you and get you to like me. And one day, if you like me enough, you might give me some coochie.
Right.
And I'm like, no, man, no.
And then if she get mad, he ain't getting nothing anyway. And then you done got married and everything. You know, made this relationship the way it is. And then you get with him and you're like, okay, we're gonna. And she like, no, I don't feel like it today. I don't even bother today. And he's like, what?
I'm glad that you said that because that brought me to the last one that I want to bring up. And that's emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is a sign of emotional immaturity. And you do it by, what did I put? Because it's so much by my, you give someone the silent treatment. You threaten to leave them. You withhold your affection. You threaten to replace them with somebody else. In other words, you use control, fear, or obligation against that person. Wow. That's a sign of emotional immaturity, right? And people do it. People do it all the time. It's like
I met people that was like, unfortunately for me, I was never that person. And I would talk to other people, whether it was guys or girls, and I would hear mainly the females say, "Yeah, girl, you ain't got to give him none if he get on your nerves and he doing this." I'm like, no, yes, I do. I mean, before I ended my first marriage, and one of my kids' dads was like, "I know you still ain't giving him no loving," and I was like, "Yeah, he's still my husband." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "You ain't supposed to still do that." And I was like, that was the first for me for a man to say, "You're not supposed to give." And I was like, "No, yes, I am. We're still together, so until he's completely gone." Until I no longer am attracted to him no more. Yeah, I was still, doing my duties as his woman and his wife. But I've never been that person that says, if you make me mad or if you did something to me, I'm withhold. Because guess what? I'm not just withholding it from you. I'm withholding it from me too. Unless your body doesn't perform like that no more, then you can do that and there's no issue. But if you're active and you constantly want to like they do, and that's who you are, You're basically depriving yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like women tend to be able to do that a little more than men because y'all are constantly bombarded by straight penises trying to enter into your body on a routine basis. It's like y'all have to turn down ding-a-ling. Like that's all y'all want. Like it ain't many men turning down coochie like that. Like being so we gotta work for it. We gotta be charming. We gotta be whatever. Y'all ain't gotta be nothing but available, right? So y'all can withhold that affection. Y'all can because it's like sex
But I
is
don't think it's fair. In my opinion, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. Which what gives makes men do the things that they do and be the way they are, because there are women that are like that they purposely say, well, he pissed me off or he done this to me, and you know what, to make him suffer, make him pay, I'm not going to give him that affection.
right.
Women are not thinking about it. When a man walks outside your home, walks outside your door, they're facing everything from the A to the Z, from 1 to 1 million, not just with their job, but the legal system. Anything can happen. Everything can happen when they walk out those doors. And when they come back home, as I always say, my home is my safe haven. When you come home, honey, you are home. You don't have to worry about the stresses of the world. And a lot of women are getting away from that. They're like, he a man, he'd be all right. You doing too much. He can suck it up. He know what it is. He know what it's supposed to be. But it's not fair to them. That's just my opinion. It's not fair to a man that they had to go through all that fighting and tussling outside in the world. And then they come home and they got to fight and tussle, or they got to hear a nagging woman like, oh gosh, I could have stayed outside for this, wondering why that man is either never home when he's supposed to, or if he is home, you don't have that interaction that you want because you done nagged him from earlier that day, or when you walked in the door, you didn't give him that greeting that he wanted or he needed. And he like, same old, same old. Or he come in the house and all he see you on the phone talking to your girl. Yeah, yeah, he just came in the house. Ain't nothing, girl. We can still keep talking. No, my man come home, I'm ending everything and I'm gonna give him that attention. And then once he gets that attention, then if it's okay, then I'm gonna go back and pick up my phone, chit chat with my girlfriend. But when he
Right.
comes to the house, his attention is supposed to be your attention. He's
And that's
supposed
the
to be
one
your priority.
right. And that's one of the things.
God, family, and then children and grandchildren. But if you're not getting him that attention, he's gonna get it from somewhere.
I was dating before and I would be on the phone. Let's just say I'm gonna use you and I. We kicking, you my girl, whatever. And and then you come over. And okay, Friday night you come over, so we enjoy Friday night. We have a great time, whatever. You there Saturday, whatever. Have all day Saturday. Then Saturday you come back in or Saturday evening, and I'm on the phone. And then you're like, okay, well, babe, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. Let's go to bed. I'm like, I'm not sleepy. So you go upstairs and you come down on the phone talking. And then you come back down and say, excuse me, I'm over here. And okay, look, this might sound like a butthole move. However I am, whatever brings me joy and happiness before you meet me, those things are part of the man that you're getting to know and you're falling for, right? So with Andre Blaylock is going to come other women, but I know how to conduct myself around other women, right? So you ain't got many to say, girl, I was around him. He tried to squeeze my butt. He tried to you. There's not many women that can say that about me, okay? Because I know how to conduct myself. So when I'm getting to know you, if I talk on the phone, if I'm on the phone, I'm on the phone. Like when you come, hey baby, what's up? Kiss me and go do what you do. I'll be
Right,
off in a minute unless it's something, it's an emergency. But I don't shut everything down when you come
right.
because you're going to expect me to do that
Every time.
for more, right? So it's like, no, if there's an emergency or you need to say something to me, you can say, babe, I got something. How long are you gonna be on the phone?
Right.
When I'm dating someone, I'm training them and I'm being trained by them. So it's
Mhm.
like, if there's an emergency, I can stop. and give you the attention. But if it's not, I'm doing something. But then again, I'm watching
your
when
response and reaction.
I'm getting to know a person. I'm a secure attachment style, but you've heard me say before, I'm a secure, but my secondary is dismissive, right? So I have to watch when I'm being dismissive. But if you're single in these streets today, most likely you are anxious or you avoid it, because a lot of secure people are already in relationships and they tend to do relationships long term, right? So if I'm dating someone or getting to know her and she sends me a picture, but I don't respond, oh gosh, that's beautiful. Or I text you, you didn't text back. That's an anxious personality type. Now I could go either one or two different ways. I could either encourage that and try to pretend and perform like, oh baby, you all that and be in your face. If that's not naturally who I am, when it shifts, you're gonna feel sideways, right?
Right.
My biggest thing is like just do you. Like be busy, just do you. I'm gonna see your life and see where I can fit in there and how I can benefit it. But I'm not trying to be your everything because you ain't gonna be my everything. It's too much stress.
That is very, very.
It's too much stress.
Yeah.
You know,
That's more work than the actual job that you go out to make money with every day.
it is. Right. If you my girl, you need to have some friends. You need to have male friends that you can go hang out with, because your male friends will tell you when you tripping, like, yeah, I see why Dre pissed off because you such and such. You can hear from them quicker than you can hear from me.
Right. Right. Right.
But that's the first thing we be shutting down in romantic relationships because of emotional immaturity.
Right. Wow.
So
Dre,
I want to come back the next time if we can do this again. We got to talk about cheating.
We could do that. We could do that. We could do that.
We got to, because it's prevalent. Most people who cheat do not get caught. And a lot of people think there's no reason that you should ever cheat, and that's a damn lie. There are plenty of reasons. Maybe you shouldn't do it, or maybe you shouldn't do it if you're not willing to face the consequences if you get caught. But it's something that needs to be talked about, because that notion that there's never a reason at all ever to cheat is a lie. It's a lie. And I can go down many reasons why people do it. What you think?
I look, my interest is already peaked already. We can do that. We can do that, Dre. Okay. Well, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Dre, do you have one more thing you want to share? You know, to keep us hanging on to the next episode. I know you probably do. Don't give me that look. To lead us out of here.
Yeah, okay. Look,
can you hear me?
You guys can find me, Andre Blaylock, AndreBlaylock.com. That's where I can be found. But if nothing else, rewatch this video and look at the 6 or 7 things that I talked about, or that Morgan and I talked about as far as emotional immaturity, because that's one of the Achilles heels to a lot of successful relationships today. We're just immature. We have too many expectations. We're too old school and we don't want to move forward. So you are a Model T Ford in the 21st century, trying to go down the highway, being slow and raggedy and holding everybody else up. You need to pop your own hood and work on emotional maturity, because it's not necessarily your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband or wife that will benefit from that. Your entire world will change once you become emotionally aware and mature. That's all I got.
Thank you, Dre. I appreciate that. Well, guys, this is Good Morning Black People with Morgan Reese. I'm your amazing host, Morgan Reese. And on this Thankful, Thoughtful Thursday, this is a conversation that you guys really need to listen to, need to tune in, because he said we're coming back. So I'm going to bring them back. We got going to get juicy now when we talk about cheating. A lot of people don't want to discuss that. They don't want to address that because, you know, it's like, oh, we don't want to talk about that kind of thing. But we're going to address it. We're going to talk about it. So thank y'all again for watching the show. Thank you again, Dre, for coming on take out the time out of your busy schedule and be blessed.
Absolutely. Peace.